Welcome everyone back to the Sanderlanche podcast. Today we are doing Oathbringer chapters 39 to 43. In these chapters, the Shardbearers have a meeting. Shallan gets to take notes while Kaladin and Yasna fight. Shallan gets info about Hellerin being a skybreaker and has to deal with that woman from the tavern again. Teft goes on a massive substance binge, apparently not for the first time. Dalinar gives a vision to Gorks, which gets gate-crashed by Lift, which stumps even Stormfather. And then in number 43, absolutely nothing important happens and no one important appears. I'm Dak, and with me this week is...
Data?
Jamie?
And Joe, I'm back again.
Hooray! Yep, buckle up, the Sanderlanche is about to begin.
Yearnings intertwined, the golden age in ashes once again. Under stirring stars, in the burning shards, kindle fragments of the falling rain. So look to the break of dawn, to the break of dawn. Stronger together.
So yeah, a whole 5 chapters this time, you guys. We cleared a big amount of text. What did you guys think of these 5 chapters?
Yeah, a bit going on in these. Interesting, entertaining. I think my favorite part was learning stuff about Hellerin and the Skybreakers, which was not at all what I thought was happening, and that just means, oh shit, this just goes even deeper. Because we've assumed for so long that Hellerin was a Ghostblood, given it was the Ghostbloods dangling this information, they were attacking Amaram, which the Ghostbloods were all about, and now all of a sudden, no, actually he worked for Nail the whole time. So, interesting, what's Nail's beef with Amaram? Well, actually, no, we sort of know that because Amaram was trying to return the Voidbringers, and Nail was kind of like, hell no, we're not allowing that to happen. But yeah, overall, it's just like, man, this is just this blows a lot of our previous theories out of the water, and now we need to keep digging, I guess, to find out what's actually going on. I get the feeling we're going to get to like book 9 and still not have a clue of what's actually going on Roshar entirely. But yeah, the rest of the chapters were fine. I'll admit I wasn't too thrilled at Lift coming back into the vision and just apparently using her awesomeness so much that even Stormfather himself was just like, what is going on? I'm like, oh man, Lift even fooled God's leftover wayward fart. That's... how much more can we just say, Lift is the best, Lift is awesome? So, whatever, we'll deal. But yeah, and the meeting with all the Shardbearers was pretty interesting. I wasn't expecting Kaladin and Yasna's relationship to get so antagonistic, but here we are.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you have a picture in your head of what their relationship, like how these two would get along? Because I kind of agreed that this was not my first thought, but then when I thought about it more, I'm like, yeah, maybe it makes sense.
I didn't expect them to be best buddies. I expected them to be coldly respectful of each other and their accomplishments. I didn't expect it to go into just full-blown hostility off the bat. But then thinking about it, Yasna brooks no fools, and Kaladin is dramatic as fuck. So, with the benefit of that perspective, yeah, they were probably bound to fight at some point.
Kaladin's a bit of a drama queen. You're not wrong. And to me, it's more like Kaladin does so much based on emotion, and Yasna is like the polar opposite of that. That
yeah,
like they were gonna make sparks.
Yeah, it's kind of like, looking at it from that lens, you shouldn't really be surprised, but I've never thought of it in that context. So I just wasn't prepared for it when it happened, but oh well, here we are.
Here we are, and it's not bad. It's entertaining for sure. I feel like might be bad for them, but also you made a good point that up till now we just kind of believed Amaram. He's like, oh, the Ghostbloods were trying to get me, and now it's like, oh wait, that's not at all what was happening.
Yeah.
So
turns out Amaram sucked even more than we thought we did and drew the ire of 2 of the secret societies rather than just 1.
Yeah, and it's I don't remember if he gives any actual details in the letter about why a Skybreaker acolyte would be going after Amaram, but we don't know that much about what the Skybreakers are doing, except for until recently they were going after Radiance, who, or at least Nail was, New Radiance. So that may be the only hint we have.
Wasn't it like Nail was trying to, like, he thought that, I feel like Nail said at some point, maybe it was in Edge Dancer, that like if more people bonded to Spren and created radiance, that would bring the desolations back. So he was trying to avoid bringing the desolations back, and we know Amaram's MO was trying to bring the desolations back. So maybe that was just Nail's like, oh, fuck you, buddy.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, those are very opposite goals there. So I could absolutely see him being like, in addition to my other things that I do to try to prevent this, let's just nip you in the bud.
Yeah. It's like, man, you're not even bonding Spren, and you're trying to do the thing I don't want to happen.
Yeah, these were fun. I enjoyed these. Dak, you did a superb job of not talking about the final chapter that we absolutely did not read this week.
Well, that's because, like I said, nothing happened, nothing important, no one important showed up.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get back to that in a minute. I did like the chapter with so Shallan's perspective on Kaladin and Yasna's interactions. I thought it was good. You got to remember too, this is the perspective of a person who's kind of angry at both these people. Not fly off the handle angry, but she's definitely got issues with both of them that she's not talking about. So I don't know if maybe it's a little bit more dramatic in her perception. I think because we have seen a lot of that dramatic flair from Kaladin, but then you look at the Bridge 4 perspective of Kaladin, and he's quite almost jovial. It makes me think, how much are we seeing that is genuinely from the perspective character as well? Like a bit of the mumbling under his breath, oh, but they didn't do anything, they're not our enemies, blah blah blah. That would really tick someone off. It would tick Shallan off, I'm sure. So anyway, I just thought it was a good perspective on what was going on there. The letter was really good. With that, didn't it say something about Nail was there was someone else who was close to bonding a Spren or something, but they were gone by the time they got there or something like that. I don't know if that was referring to Kaladin.
It does sound familiar, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that was referring to Kaladin or not, but it was interesting having Helleran be part of the Skybreakers. It's definitely a different direction to where I thought we were going with that. So that's pretty cool. Oh, a lot happened. Teft, that's just sad. What's going on with him? I hope he can get some help, and obviously the crew's not going to turn their back on him, but I hope he can find a way out of that situation. But also a bit more going on for Teft there with his own Spren that he's talking to and has spoken certain words. Did we know that? I don't think we knew that.
I don't believe we did, no.
No. So that was a fun little tidbit of information there. I hope we get a bit more Teft perspective at some point. Is Moash the only one left? There was Lift, Dalinar's vision. I liked that something unpredictable happened. I think it was kind of cool that Gorks was like not buying into Dalinar's thing at all. Dalinar had someone, Queen Fen, who was, challenging him, but eventually came around. It's kind of nice to have someone who's like, nope. I've heard about you. I don't trust you. This is my vision, not your vision. There's a complication I'm sure Dalinar didn't see coming. And then the actual complication that no one saw coming was Lift sliding into his vision right there. That was definitely not predicted, but fun. Definitely a nice little challenge, and the fact that she was able to take him out of that as well. And more going on with the Night Watcher and the Stormfathers, like that was a pain in my ass. That was a fun little stir up the pot moment, which was good. Moash, dear Moash, you just it very, very woe is me. I miss rocks cooking, blah blah blah. You know what? You shouldn't have tried to kill the king, dude. You made your bed. You need to lie in it. Do I feel bad for you? No, not at all. Giving up his shards, I didn't sort of see that coming, and I feel like he was so prepared to just go and probably die in that moment. It's going to be worse for you now, for sure. So I don't know what to expect in the future for Moash, but I didn't really like his woe is me moments. That was, you made your bed, dude.
Yeah, it's hard to pity him too much here, although things do go very badly for him on the whole. But it's like, I mean, you did try to kill the king. and Kaladin
Yeah.
for that matter.
Yeah. And the whole, so now I'm thinking too, like, he spent so much time of, oh, what did Bridge 4 think of me now? You know, I bet you they're all sitting around laughing, and, you know, would they be laughing if they knew what I did? And I'm sure Kaladin went back and, you know, pointedly told them what I did. And we know Kaladin didn't do that. All they know is Moash is gone. Is there room for Moash to come back? Which would
Moash redemption
Dak
arc.
hate.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not here for it currently, but we'll see.
And then I'm gonna jump back to what you said about Teft. I don't think we saw that coming either, and it does make you like him. You feel bad for, and it kind of puts a whole new light. Like when Kaladin first recruits Teft, he's like Teft and Rock are his first recruits to like help him out in Bridge 4, and Teft is like, no, you don't want me. And Kaladin's like, what, are you worried that we're gonna like let you down and betray you? And he's like, no. I always let down other people who depend on me, so you don't want me involved. And now it's like, oh, okay, I kind of get where he was coming from. And it's sad.
It's really sad. It's really sad. Yeah.
And then I like what you said about Lift, because just when we think, or when Dalinar thinks he has this new approach down, he's like, I'm going to do this. This is going to work. It kind of worked with Fen. Here comes Lift to like blow the whole thing up, and is like, no, I'll just take this person out of your vision. See you later. And it does, like, according to Stormfather, seems to tie back to the Night Watcher. He's like pissed off, like, she did this. And so Dak was kind of annoyed by it. You thought it was fun, and I'm just like, I want to know. I need more information about like Lift and the Night Watcher and like how all of this works, because it does seem completely random that she can pop into these visions. The Stormfather certainly didn't expect it.
Absolutely. Also, okay, so we're going, all right, Dalinar has been to the Night Watcher. Yeah, cool. We know Lift has been to the Night Watcher. We know that, and we're sort of expecting there's a boon and a curse for each of them and stuff, which is probably still the crux of it. But something else is going on with Lift from the Night Watcher. Like, has the Night Watcher done something else to her, or there's something about Lift that is going to come to play for sure, because Stormfather's like, no, this isn't the same. Like, yes, you went to the Night Watcher, but this isn't the same. This one is here to torment me. And while the Stormfather must think a lot of people are there to torment him, and he's very annoyed by the whole situation that he got put in, there's something going on with Lift. And, you know, she's had her own story. She's really popped out of the interludes to become this character, and she's shown up a couple of times now. So this is exciting. I'm looking forward to this little side story becoming part of our main story. And you know what? We may not see Lift again in this book. Who freaking knows? But she's fun, and I hope we keep the fun Lift, not the that's annoying about Lift. I just know to do it. I guess is my thing. We get that about you, Lift. Now it's time to move on and do something.
We now have Lift and Lopin, who we need like small doses of.
True. Yeah.
So I guess we shall see.
Man, so many delicious knowledge nuggets in last week that I missed. And so I want to take a minute to talk about that. Man, why can't the Stormfather just have like a long exposition in every single set of chapters we read? Wouldn't that be helpful? I think so. We just got a lot of good info. And then, we get and on top of that, we get a nice letter from Mraize giving us lots more good info. I mean, come on. I'm just super jazzed with all the info. Yeah, there's quite a bit of tension between Yasna and Kaladin, but we've got two people, one who thinks she's, who feels like she's always right, and probably usually is always right, highborn. Kaladin's already got a massive chip on his shoulder when it comes to Light Eyes, and so I'm sure Yasna is no exception. And then the fact that she will actually go and argue with him on stuff, or kind of go actually confront him when he's being disrespectful. It's like, okay, she's not one that you're just going to be able to make feel bad for being a Light Eyes there, Kaladin. So definitely a different dynamic between those two than we've seen, and I don't hate it. I think it's an interesting, different kind of dynamic. I think what's even more interesting in this chapter is the dynamic between Shallan and Yasna, and I think Yasna's calling a lot of Shallan's kind of BS lately, and she's like, "There's obviously something going on. You should just probably talk to me about it." And then Shallan just not talking to her about it, right? And then she goes and basically what I would consider hides in the form of veil with her own men. And it's like she's got to figure out what she's going to do about her life and like what kind of person she wants to be, right? Like she's relying on all these personas that she's created to kind of make her feel safe and secure. And I get it, it's a defense mechanism. Like I totally get where it's coming from, but it's not healthy. It's like it's almost like her powers are letting her indulge herself in a mental state that she really should not be in, right? Like repressing certain things or basically disassociating herself from this trauma that she's gone through and these really tough decisions that she's having to make. And so it's like it's a little weird how far down the rabbit hole she's gone. And I know it's not the same thing, so don't hear me say it's the same thing, but I almost feel like that's mirrored with the Teft chapter, right? It's like Teft has gone down a deep dark hole that he doesn't know how to crawl out of, right? And he's got his friends who care about him, and they're just like trying to get him to do right by him and try to get him, back on his feet. And he's just, there's a lot of shame going on there because he knows there's nobody to blame but himself. So we have these two characters in this section of chapters that are really going through it. And then you have a third person who's also going through it, but we don't really care as much about him because we don't like him, right? We've got Moash. He's also going through it, right? Oh, I should have stayed with Bridge 4. What have I done? What did I do? Why did I do this? How, is it even possible for me to get back to that place? Probably not. Yeah, Kaladin probably told them how awful I am. I'm so awful, right? And it's like Moash is throwing a pity party in his own head, which you could understand, if you were in his perspective, if you were in his shoes. We readers, we knew that the decision that he made was poor. And I think he's maybe even realizing that a little bit, the underlying decisions that he made that brought him to the place he is in now, they were poor decisions. But at the same time, I mean, as a reader, we also have to say Moash plays a very pivotal role for Kaladin, right? If Moash doesn't do what he did, Kaladin may not have been able to realize his powers when he did and actually stop the assassin. So, like, there's a reason all these things are happening. And then I think the funniest part to me about that chapter is Moash just gets interrupted by people just getting slaughtered. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't even care about this sword anymore. You can take it." Oh, and I kind of glossed over that Dalinar chapter. Yeah, Lift. I mean, look, I'm not Lift's biggest fan as a reader. I think Data, you'd mentioned she's pretty polarizing among the fandom. Like some people are like, "Oh, she's the best," and other people are like, "Oof, I don't get it." I'm closer to the I don't get it. There's moments for Lift, especially during that short story, where I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. But talking about Dalinar's butt is not one of those moments where I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. So that's all I got.
You're not into Dalinar butt jokes? Okay,
nah,
fair.
Dalinar butt jokes is not my thing.
Understandable, I think. I can definitely understand that. Yeah. I want to go back a little bit to where you started talking about last week's big like knowledge dump sort of thing, learning some about like the heralds and what happened and stuff. Was there a part of that you thought was the most interesting, or was there stuff in there that you're like, oh, that I'd kind of already figured out, or this, oh, that's like new, I hadn't even thought about that? Like, I
think in our discussions we had kind of come to the conclusion that dude that ended up showing up was really a herald. What this kind of fleshed out for me, which I liked, was kind of the why and the how. Like, okay, this makes total sense now, right? Like the prologue, these guys are like, hey, we're going to leave him to do that thing in Damnation. We're all going to stay alive, right? In my head, the prologue was kind of opposite. They were going on to the afterlife, and that dude was staying in like a hellish battle on a planet somewhere, right? So that kind of fleshed it out and kind of flipped it in reverse script, right? Now it makes sense What I am interested in is where does Nail fit in with all that? Because that seems still unclear to me. Because the Nail that we have kind of seen and on page is not a person who'd be like, yeah, I'm not going to get tortured for eternity. I'll abandon my duty, because it doesn't seem like he has abandoned his duty, right? So if he's a herald, like I kind of am confused how he fits into all that decision making process. But yeah, dude, 4,500 years of torture, that'd probably make me want to be like, you know what, I'm coming home.
Yeah, and one of the things that I guess you could say spoiled, because it's something that Brandon told us outside of the book, but that I told the others last week, is that the Stormfather, it's unclear if he's wrong when he says this particular thing, or if he is intentionally saying, like, lying. But what Brandon has said is that town never broke.
Okay, so something happened that basically caused him to come back, but it was outside of his control. Okay.
Yep, it was something else that happened, but it was not what the Stormfather seems to think it was. So
yeah. Well, and I think I think
even more respect for the dude,
right? And I think the Stormfather even says that, like, I'm pretty sure this is what happens. That I feel like that's kind of the way he puts it. He's like, I'm not honor, right? Like I came after this event, so I'm pretty sure this is what happened.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at that. You may be right about that, but yeah, it does bring up the question of Nail. We, in the prologue to the Stormlight Archive, we only or prelude, sorry, we only met like the two guys, the two heralds, who were, and it was like everyone else had already left. Their swords are already stuck in the ground here as Yezri and Kalak show up to talk about this stuff. And so, yeah, what is Nail up to? This is a good question.
Yeah, that guy's he's cut a little different.
And he was taking orders from one of the other heralds, wasn't he? One of the ones we haven't met yet.
Yeah, he said something about Ishar told him, like,
Yeah.
if he could do this stuff, then this would happen or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe he like got to a point where he didn't trust his own judgment, but I don't know. It's weird.
I mean, from what we saw in
Edge Dancer.
I kept wanting to say Windrunner. Yes, thank you. From what we saw in Edge Dancer, it does definitely seem like he does not trust his own judgment. He had his whole speech about, you can't trust your judgment. That's what the law is for, or blah, 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 whatever. So, yeah, maybe that has happened. All right. Well, I guess let's get into these chapters, y'all. Chapter 39 was Notes. So if you'll remember the last, or maybe it was the one before last, but it was basically like the epigraphs that we had. It was like Aona and Sky broke our pact from the beginning.
Yeah, it's like they deserve to get murdered by Odium for being Welchers.
And so we didn't know what that pact was. This may be an indication where it says, like, no good can come of two shards settling in one location. It was agreed that we would not interfere with one another, and it disappoints me that so few of the shards have kept to this original agreement. So,
I think we've talked about this before. We know of at least 3 planets that were 2 shard inhabited so far.
yep.
Right. We've got
I mean, like 3 on this one, but
yeah,
I mean, really, the big 3, like Roshar, Scadrial, and
no, I mean, there's 3 shards on
there's-
Roshar.
Yeah,
or
3
there
shards
were.
on Roshar.
oh, I thought the implication was Odium came after Honor and Cultivation had done their thing.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. So
But
there
there's-
weren't always 3,
Yeah,
but there are now. Or
Yeah, I was about to
were
say still
now?
inhabiting. So
Yeah,
like
true.
Still broke the pact, yeah.
yeah, we've got 3 on this planet. There was 2 on the Elantris.
Cell and Scadrial.
Yeah, 2 on
So,
Scadrial.
yeah.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So like almost half of them were not by themselves on a planet.
And that's
Plus
just that we
you-
know of so far, yeah.
And Autonomy seems to be like just bouncing her all around the place.
Right.
'Cause she-
She's autonomous. She does her own thing.
Yeah. Really, it just seems like what was it? Endowment on Nalthus is the only one just going, hey man, I'm just doing what we all agreed. You all can fuck off.
I'm doing the thing I was
true.
supposed to do.
Yeah, it
I
really.
mean, Autonomy's not settled down with another shard. She's kind of trying to take everything over, but I guess that's still kind of like we're not leaving each other alone, which was the
Yeah.
deal.
But still, I think that whoever's writing this letter is very much It's like any two shards selling in one location. Well, they broke the deal. They deserve to have Odium come to their house and fuck them up. I'm like, steady on.
You deserve to die
Yeah.
because you broke our deal. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, what's that? You want to go hang out with your friends? Well, fucking die.
So yeah, not a lot of pity from this shard is what we're getting.
I don't know who the shard is, but I consider them a bit of an asshat.
I mean, I said that as if it might be a spoiler, but I think it's pretty clear that this is one of the shards.
Yeah, the epigraphs so far have made that, if not explicitly clear, then they've implied it very heavily.
Yeah, right, exactly. So this chapter notes, it starts out with Shallan can take notes for us, Yasna says, and Shallan feels a bit put out by this. She's like, hey, I'm one of these important, Radiants, and this is a meeting of the Radiants. Dalinar's called a meeting of the Radiants in the basement. And Shallan's like, I mean, we could call somebody else in to take notes. It's clearly too important for that sort of thing. And Yasna's like, no. We covered shorthand in your training. I'd like to see how you've retained it. Be fastidious. We will need to report to my brother what we determine here. So, make sure we're keeping the king in the loop. That's important, right? He doesn't get invited to the meeting. He's not a Radiant, but still. And so everyone is settled in chairs around the room, except for Kaladin, who's, looming. Shallan says, like a thundercloud. And then she thinks, that guy killed my brother. Nope, can't think about that.
She thinks about that, and then she's like, can't think about that. And then she starts drawing him. I don't know. I'm confused by Shallan.
Yeah, that's probably a fair position to be in. Confused, yep. And so Shallan starts taking notes. As Joe says, before long, the notes devolve into she starts sketching Kaladin, which are... I mean, I know you're feeling a way about how things are going, but you have to realize somebody's going to notice that, right? It's a weird time to just be like, whatever.
And that's I think that's part of the thing I was kind of getting at. It's she's having some problems. She's not really working through them.
And so Kaladin starts out the meeting by so, according to the Stormfather, the Almighty's dead, and also condemned 10 people to an eternity of torture. And now they are not only traitors, but probably also crazy. We had one of them in custody, probably the craziest of all, but we lost him somewhere. In short, everyone who might be able to help us is crazy, dead, a traitor, or some combination of the three. Figures. Very succinct. Well done.
Just imagine if they somehow managed to call Nail up, and he says, "I've seen the error of my ways. I'm going to come help you." And he shows up, and Seth is behind him, and they're just gone, "Whoa! You didn't mention that."
That's a bit of a wrinkle.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, maybe now that he's realized that the desolation has come, maybe he'll want to help out. That's a good possibility. I mean, we have to assume he would take a side, and it probably wouldn't be the other side. So, I don't know. He's crazy. Who knows?
Yeah.
And so, I love that Shallan is annoyed that she has to summarize in shorthand what Kaladin just said, because what Kaladin said was a summary of stuff that was already said anyway. But Renarin jumps in, it's okay, so what do we do, with this knowledge that we have? And Yasna's well, we have to stop the Voidbringers. Kaladin, after spending a lot of time with a group of Parshmen, is just hey, these people are not our enemies. And this is when she starts looking at him, and it's that wavy dark hair, that grim expression. He has to be strict with himself to contain his passion. Okay. Could
even
chill out
you
a little bit there.
Even you reading is making me uncomfortable.
Yeah, yep.
And just that's not something I need the audiobook of.
And so Yasna's yes, the Parshmen are our enemies. They're in the process right now of conquering the world. And Kaladin's but they just want to live better lives. They don't want to be slaves. And Yasna says yeah, okay, maybe that's the average Parshman's simple motivation, but their leaders are going to pursue our extinction. And Devani's yeah, based on what we've seen, that's true.
They both have a point.
Yeah. And Yasna's based on what we were told, it sounds like Voidbringers are actually a combination of a Parshman and some kind of hostile spirit or spren. And Dalinar's yeah, the fused. And Kaladin's okay, good, let's fight those guys. Why do the common folk have to get crushed in the process? And Yasna kind of snaps back, maybe you should go into one of those visions and see what a desolation looks like. And Kaladin's look, I've seen war, I'm a soldier. but like these people that we're fighting are not monsters. And Dalinar has to stop this argument and is like, okay, but do you actually think we can make a deal here? Do you think that they would like negotiate with us? And Cal's like, I mean, they're pretty pissed off, but maybe? And so we end with Dalinar being like, you know what? Fine. I would never have thought this before, but once we've made sure our homeland is safe, I will be willing to negotiate. I'll see if there's some way out of this without like a giant war. And Yaz is like, what? These creatures have spent millennia torturing the heralds just so they could get back here and try to kill us. And I was like, we'll see. Okay. Apparently, we heard last time that they were going to try to contact someone with the visions through the Stormfather in Kholinar, but they were unable to do that. He says so. There's something weird going on in that city.
I think we know that Elhokar's wife was doing crazy stuff, and then some kind of riot broke out, and now with the Voidbringers on top of it, it's probably pretty easy for them to take hold of the city if they did make it there.
Yep. Well, and based on what Kaladin told them, it seems like they are at least mobilizing to assault Kholinar if they've not done so already. And so they're going to talk about how many people are you going to take. Kaladin wants to fly in a storm like he did to get to Urithiru. So maybe like 6 people. Dalinar wants to send Adolin too. So Adolin, the king, Kaladin, some of Kaladin's guys. And Kaladin's like, okay, but do we have to take Elhokar? Like, Adolin's a good idea, but the king will just slow us down. And Dalinar's like, no, okay, the king needs to go for his own reasons. Is that going to be a problem? And Kaladin's like, no, it's fine. But Yasna thinks that we're talking about one city, trying to protect one city. She's like, this is too small. These things are moving all over the world. And according to the Stormfather, the Fused are immortal. So we need to figure out how to stop them. Not only that, but they seem to have access to some kind of surge binding. So Yasna's like, we need to figure out some way to address this impossibility of beating immortal creatures with magic powers. And Dalinar's like, okay, do you have a suggestion? And she's like, yeah. I mean, it's obvious, really. We need to find the heralds. And Kaladin starts nodding. And Yasna goes, and then we need to kill them. And Kaladin's like, wait, what?
He's like, wait a minute, man. Why?
Like, whoa, you went from 0 to 100 real quick there.
Stabby, kill, huh? Something
about
about
the first
this.
half.
Yeah.
You had us in the first half, exactly.
There's something about this that doesn't seem quite right.
But no, her plan is, I think, very logical. We know that the only way to stop the spirits from returning, according to the Stormfather, is for the heralds to go to damnation, and the Oath Pact seals away the Fused. So, if they don't want to go, if they're not going to go willingly, which clearly after 4,500 years they're not, we got to kill them. And Kaladin's like, but yeah, but they get tortured there.
Am I the only one who forgot about that or remembered the torture?
And yes, it's like, oh, yeah, but look, why don't we find them and see if maybe they're willing to go back?
I feel like if they were willing to go back based on everything going on, they probably already would have done it.
And because the only other option, according to Yasna, is we kill all the Parshmen, and then the Fused have nowhere to go. So it doesn't matter if they can't die; they have no bodies.
This sounds like Halo all over again, right? Wipe out the entire galaxy of the food for that one parasitic life form.
Yep, the Flood can't eat if there's no food left because everyone is dead. And Kaladin's like, Storms, have you no sympathy? And she's like, oh yeah, I have lots of sympathy, but I temper it with logic. Perhaps you should consider acquiring some at a future date.
Damn.
Like, shots fired. Hey, Kaladin, not one to let that stuff fly.
Nah,
especially not when it's a
for
light eyes like
yeah,
coming at him.
Exactly.
Yeah. He is about to go off on her, and Dalinar, I think, consents it. He's like, no, stop.
We're not doing this right now.
Oh, fuck, he's about to ask for a boon, isn't he?
Yes, and his handing out boons, right? It's all good.
It's like, I demand a fight with her. Wait, what?
And so Dalinar jumps in. He's like, look, we don't know if the pact would still work. We don't know that even if we sent the heralds back to damnation, that they would stay there. But finding them, probably a good first step. We can discuss the whole murdering thing once we've done that.
We can discuss the whole murdering thing.
So he's like, Yasna, that's your action item from this meeting. Come up with a plan on how to do that.
Come up with a plan that is not just murdering everyone.
We'll keep murder on the optional list, but stick with the finding as a
I promise we'll
required.
keep it on the table.
Not ruling it out. But you can sort of see Kaladin's point anyway. Like his whole order that he's sworn to, like, is all about protecting people. So of course he's not going to just agree to indiscriminate murder.
Yeah.
Murder, death, kill.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder, like, back in the day when these desolations were happening and when the orders were big or whatever, like, did this sort of thing come up? What were the Windrunners back then like? Maybe they never made friends with Parshmans. So.
Mm.
And Renarin's like, okay, that's all well and good. What about the Unmade? Are there more of those? And Dalinar's like, yeah, Navani's been researching those. And Yasna jumps back in like, okay, well, we still need to defeat the armies of the Voidbringers. If we defeat their armies so soundly that even if their leaders are constantly reborn, they lack the manpower to overwhelm us. So basically, she's like, we need to kill most of them, like 9/10 of them, and then they won't have enough people to be a threat, regardless, right? So, and Colin's like, oh, come on, really? Can we just? We don't have to kill all the Parshmen. This is not a necessary step.
But yes, you've been gone a long time. Some things have changed. We don't just kill now. Let's take a breath, shall we?
I think she does, though. That's her thing. She's like, yeah,
Yeah,
those guys were going to mug me. I'm going to kill them.
Yeah.
That's plan A for Yasna. Yeah. She snaps back. She's like, hey, you know what? I bet we can find you some mink kits to cuddle. Like, we'll get you some kittens, and you can cuddle them while the adults plan.
He's like, oh,
None of us
you fly with eels.
It's like, Cal and I expect this from. I was not expecting Yasna to get this petty.
Oh,
And maybe that's on
right?
me, but
I think Yasna's always one step away from being petty. She's just like, you know what? I'm Yasna Colin. I don't have to deal with this.
go cuddle a kitten, jackass.
I think, honestly, she's annoyed that since she's been gone, her uncle has this guy that he puts so much faith and stock in, who apparently has opposite viewpoints on things from her. So that probably makes her a bit more snippy. If it was just some guy, it would be fine that they didn't agree with her. But this is someone whose counsel Dalinar respects. And so it's like, damn it.
Yeah. I don't know, You guys ever see the movie Sunshine?
No?
Okay.
So.
Well, I won't go too deep into details then, but like, yeah, Yasna sort of reminds me a lot of Chris Evans in that character, and that was the first movie that convinced me. Oh, Chris Evans is a great actor. Just like
Cillian Murphy's in that.
Oh yeah, it's
Michelle
got a
Yeoh.
great
Nice.
cast, and yeah, like he spends like a lot of the movie being like the rudest prick imaginable, but without spoiling too much, there is a point where like, you know, they like there's like 3 or 4 of them, and they have an option where it's like, we can save one of us and the rest of us will probably have to die. And he's like, well, it has to be the guy that I have been having a massive fight with because he's the most important person on the crew. And everyone's like, but you hate him. I'm just like, that doesn't change the fact that he's the most important person on the crew, so it has to be him.
Nice.
So,
Logic.
That's sort of where I'm putting Yasna at this point. But yeah, like without the originally at least I thought without the pettiness, but here we are. So Chris Evans for Yasna. There's some crack casting for
There's
you.
some casting for you, yeah.
Yeah. Not expected casting. I don't think anyone else would have called that, but okay.
No, and probably never will again.
America's ass meets Yasna.
It's like one of those Kevin Smith things where he's like, I think Ben Affleck should play every character, even the shark from Jaws.
Yeah.
So,
Shark from Jaws. I think he could do it.
but Yasna says none of us want to talk about this, but that doesn't make it any less inevitable. So she's like, look, we don't want to slaughter all the Parshmen, but we all know we're going to have to slaughter all the Parshmen. Okay, so just get over yourself.
It's like, we know it's, it's not a fun thing to talk about, but we all know we're going to have to do it. Do we though, Yasna?
And so Yasna brings it back around. She's like, okay, here, let me ask you this. Do you think maybe it would be smart to monitor the troop movements of the Voidbringers? Colin's like, yeah. And do you think maybe some of your Windrunner squires could like fly up and scout for us and monitor these troop movements? And, like, he doesn't want to agree to this. He looks over at Dalinar, and Dalinar nods, and he's like, fine. And Yasna's like, excellent. Also, Uncle, your coalition of monarchs, great idea. Let's keep working on that too. And this is when she notices that Shallan, after like a paragraph of notes, is now like, first there were it was like she was doodling, but actually it's like a full-on sketch of Kaladin's face. And there's like to the point that there's creation spren forming. And he's like, oh jeez, can we take a break for just a minute? I gotta talk to somebody.
Not being a good scholar there, Shallan.
Not so much. So yes, 3 lines of notes from this meeting, and then a very nice sketch of Kaladin.
Yes, and it's like, brilliant. I'll stick it to my dartboard.
Right? Shallan's kind of sulky about it, like we should have sent for a scribe. And Yasna's like, I mean, taking notes is not a lowly task. And Shallan's like, well, then maybe you should have done it. And I think Yasna's actually pretty magnanimous here. She's like, look, I understand that you've enjoyed independence since we split up. You've accomplished remarkable, amazing things here. You even earned Dalinar's trust, which is not an easy thing to do. And before she can say any more, Shallan's like, yeah, maybe then we should just call this wardship finished, right? I'm a full Radiant now. Full Radiant, huh? Where's your armor then? And Shallan's like, armor? Shallan, I am impressed, really. But what I've been hearing is troubling. You made good on this betrothal to Adolin, but clearly you got some wandering eyes, like sketching Kaladin over here.
Yeah, which everybody knows. Yasmin's like, nah, that's my man. He disagrees with me. I love it. That's my new fan theory. They should be together.
Yaznadin? Kalishna?
Yaznadin sounds good.
No combination names. We are above that.
No, we're not. Kalina.
Joe's like, I am not above that.
What are you talking about? I love that shit. Let's do it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just kidding.
She's like, you skip the meetings that Dalinar calls, and when you do go, you barely pay attention. Most of the time you slip out early. And you found an unmade and frightened it off basically alone, but never explained how you did any of it. You've always had secrets, and some of them have been pretty messed up. So I feel like you got some more secrets. And Shallan nods. And Yas goes, that was an invitation to talk to me? This is really the time, Shallan, where you should have been like, okay, let me tell you what's been going on with Ghost Bloods. But no, she's just not going to say anything. Because keeping secrets is like a way of life for Shallan.
But she's like, oh no, that wasn't me. That was Vale. I'm like, you are Vale.
Oh.
She says Yasna didn't need to know about Vale. So
I think she does.
Yep.
So Yasna just sighs. It's like, fine. Well, your wardship is not done and will not be until I am convinced you can meet the minimum requirements of scholarship, such as taking shorthand notes during important meetings. And I love the comparison. She's like, just like a young man won't be excused from his geography lessons because he's good with a sword, you don't get out of your normal ward duties just because you have radiant powers. And then she leaves and Pattern's like, she's wise. And Shallan's like, that's the worst part, is that she's so smart and she's always right. And she's right about this too. And she thinks, or she tells Pattern, like, it's worse because I do act more like a child around her. And I hate that about myself. And Pattern's like, okay, so is there a solution? And she goes, I don't know. And he goes, perhaps act like an adult? Like even Pattern is like, grow up, dude. And then they go back to the meeting and we get kind of just an overview of the rest of it. Yasna wants to get the Shin on board with their coalition, but they're talking about the different oath gates and stuff and coming up with some tactics. They don't talk tactics too specifically. That's a masculine art. Girls can't be involved in that. But Yasna's like skirting the edges of it. And then there's a whole like 2 or 3 paragraphs about like how great Yasna is and how she's like so confident and fierce, but still feminine. And also, just so pretty. Like next to her, Shallan feels pale, stupid, and completely lacking in curves. And at that point, Shallan realizes that she got distracted by that and has missed 15 minutes of meeting note-taking again.
Don't worry, Shallan. We've all felt that way. Minus the curves.
And she does take mostly good notes for the rest of it, but there's that 15-minute point where she writes, Dalinar said some stuff here. It was very important and useful, so I'm sure you remember it without needing a reminder. And eventually the meeting ends. Shallan goes back to her room. She's going to grab Vale's coat and hat. Vale would know what to do. But inside the coat is a sheet of paper. And from the Ghost Bloods, you've accomplished the task we set for you. The following letter explains the truth about your deceased brother, Nan Halaran, acolyte of the Radiant Order of the Skybreakers. All right. So we go to questions, peaks, and inferences, where our epigraph says, as for Uli Da, It was obvious from the outset that she was going to be a problem. Good riddance.
Another shard
okay.
somewhere is dead, and it's like, man, fuck that one.
I believe that one is Ambition, who we know
Oh, that's
got
the one
taken out.
that really fucked up Odium that time and died in the process.
Yeah, I believe that is that was Ulida.
Good for you, Uli Da. You went down swinging.
Also, you may remember that I told you guys we met briefly at the end of the Lost Metal a different species that was rowing the boat that was getting Melon somewhere in the cognitive realm. They've got like 4 arms, and I'm trying to remember what else is about them. They're like, I think, white or something. But anyway, the Shodel is what that species is called, and Ulida, I believe, is one of them. You can tell because of the name, the way the name is made. So there was at least one Shodel who was a shard holder, but not for long. Oh wow, that's interesting. Sorry, I had to go to the Coppermind wiki page on Ambition to make sure that I was remembering correctly, and they have an illustration supposedly of Ulida, probably a fan one, but I'll share that with you guys just because it's kind of neat looking.
Cool.
All right, back to what we're doing.
Very colorful mohawk.
Right, yeah. So the letter says that other than the Ghostbloods, there were 2 major institutions on Roshar, which presaged, how we say it, the return of the Voidbringers and the Desolation. One of them, the Sons of Honor, which Gavilar Kholin was involved with. So Meredith Amaram also. And he's like, yeah, I'm sure when you infiltrated Amaram's mansion, you saw all the stuff that the Sons of Honor wanted to bring the Desolations back. Because they thought the Voidbringers returning would make the Heralds come out of hiding and so on and so forth. And I love it even says, Gavilar's efforts to rekindle the Desolation are probably the real reason he was assassinated, although there were a lot of people in the palace that night with reason to see him dead. So we're not getting into that. Another group who knew about the Desolations were the Skybreakers, led by the ancient herald Nalan Ilin, called Nail, the only Order of Radiance that did not betray its oaths during the Recreance, and have maintained a continuous line from the ancient days. So this one order did not put down their weapons when all the others did, and have secretly been in operation this entire time. Nail believed that men speaking words would hasten the return of the Voidbringers. We don't know how that could be true, but as a herald, Nail has access to knowledge and understanding beyond us. So I love the letters like, I mean, that seems crazy, but maybe. We don't know. You should know the heralds are no longer allies to man. Those that are not completely insane have been broken. So Nail would kill people who were bonding a spren. He would either go himself or send a minion like your brother. Your mother had intimate contact with a Skybreaker acolyte, and you know the result of that relationship. Your brother was recruited because Nail was impressed with him. He may also have learned there was someone close to bonding a spren in your house. If that's true, they came to believe it was Halarin, and they recruited him. Likely, he was sent to kill Amaram as a test. Either that, or he took it up himself as a way of proving his worthiness. It's possible the Skybreakers knew someone in Amaram's army was close to bonding a spren, but I believe it was likelier that Amaram was a strike against the Sons of Honor. From our spying upon the Skybreakers, we have records showing the only member of Amaram's army to have bonded a spren was long since eliminated. The Bridgeman was not, so far as we understand, known to them. If he had been, he would certainly have been killed during his months as a slave. So...
yeah, missed that bit.
Someone in Amaram's army apparently had bonded a spren, according to this letter, but they were long since dead. The thing is, we don't know that many people in Amaram's army.
No, we pretty much just knew Kaladin and his guys.
Yeah, well, and clearly Kaladin and his guys were not long since dead at that point, so it couldn't have been any of them.
Maybe it was TN. Early prediction.
There you go. I was about to say we did in fact know one other person in Amaram's army who was long dead by this point, and so it could be. And so Shallan's like, wow. She was not expecting this either, any more than we were. Just suddenly, her brother was a Skybreaker, and it's news to her that Gavilar and Amaram were trying to bring back the Desolations. Although she knew that Amaram was, I guess she didn't know Gavilar was part of it. Pattern, on the other hand, says there are lies in this letter. But what that might be, we don't pay any attention to. And she thinks, she says, he's dangling, little bits of information. Dropping these references to, Gavilar and all the stuff going on around there, that wasn't necessary to fulfill their promise. That was him being like, hey, we have a lot of other information. If you do more work for us, you can know more. And Patter's like, but we want those tidbits, right? And she's like, yeah, that's why it's an effective method of trying to get somebody to do what you want.
Would you like to know more?
But instead of thinking that over anymore, she burns the letter and dresses up as Vale and goes to hang out with her guys, her soldiers. And she sits down with them to play a game, which I think this is the most detail we've learned about any of the games that they play. So this one's kind of interesting. Like, you get 10 little like tiles with different symbols on them, and then one person arranges them and everyone else has to try to match that arrangement by like getting peaks and questions and such. So it's kind of a cool, neat idea for a game. Because can't predict the future. So can't have like random card draws or dice rolls. No, that would be of the Voidbringers. And they talk about Shallan. Like, Vale sits down and she's like, yeah, it's like that girl can't decide who she is, you know? And Vath is like, yep, she's a strange one, our mistress. And Gaz is over here like, she makes you do things you never thought you'd do. And we have Glurv, who's like, I got me a medal. Me! For helping find that mess in the basement.
That name is still where I draw the line.
Yeah, it might as well be like Lur, ruler of the planet Omicron Persei 8, in case you didn't know.
And then in the middle of the game, we get Shab again, who we met briefly before. And he thinks he's turning into a Voidbringer.
Man, this guy. Look, we all know my feelings on Gaz, and they have not changed, but I think he has been superseded as the worst one in Shallan's crew. Shob, get the fuck out.
I'm likely to die, Sarge.
I think it's like
I'm likely.
It's the combination of
die. That's what it makes me
it's
think
like
of.
the combination of like the forced comedy with the forced stereotypical Irish accent has just combined into one super collision of just awfulness.
Yeah.
If I die, give my winnings to them orphans.
To them orphans. Which orphans?
Them orphans?
Them orphans.
You know, orphans.
Yeah.
There's orphans, right?
Yeah,
Somewhere.
just all the orphans. In the whole world.
And Vath is like, the way justice plays out in this world, I can guarantee you'll outlive the rest of us, Shab. And Shab's like, that's right nice, Sarge, right nice.
Frustrating thing is he's probably right.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
right. And then the round ends pretty quickly, and it turns out that Vale's real good at this game. Vath is like, oh, geez, you didn't even get any peaks. Remind me never to play pieces with you. And I feel like in winning, Shallan starts to peek out a little bit, because she's like, yeah, my brother's always said the same thing. We've never heard that Vale has brothers, so I think Shallan's like, gets a little excited when she wins. And then they run out of money to play for, and Gaz is like, I can go get a loan or something, and I love that as like shady and stuff as this group of guys that works for Shallan are, they're like, Gaz.
Yeah.
We know he's got a gambling issue.
Yeah, I like that they're kind of trying to take care of him. It's like, dude, we're in a good place right now. Like, you don't need to screw yourself over by going and getting in a bunch of debt. That's what got you into the situation you were in before this.
He's like, but, and Vath is like, seriously, Gaz. He's like, okay. It's almost like Bridge 4 looking out for each other. These guys are starting to develop a nice camaraderie.
We shall call ourselves Bridge -4.
Bridge -4. Yep, there you go. And they're like, hey, Vale, do you think that like Brightness has already forgotten about us again? And Vale's like, I don't know, maybe. She doesn't seem to know what to do with you lot. And Gaz says that they can't get into another army. Their crimes are forgiven, but not forgotten. No one will take them now. I'm just glad those storming bridgemen haven't strung me up by my toes. And I love that his story is like, oh yeah, I was their sergeant. I did everything I could to get them to run bridges faster. Nobody likes their sergeant, though. Like, he was just like, I was just a normal sergeant doing normal sergeant things.
Yeah. He's learned nothing.
Yeah. And he's like, I do wonder, if I'd been less hard on them, would I be out there right now learning how to fly?
You
And
keep
Vath
on
is like-
telling yourself that, Gaz. He probably thinks it's true.
Yeah, maybe. And Vath is over here like, you think you could be a Knight Radiant, Gaz? And Gaz is like, no, I guess I don't. Vale, tell the Brightness, we ain't good men. Good men, they'll find something useful to do with their time. We, on the other hand, might do the opposite. And I love, he says, tell her to give us something to do other than gambling and drinking, because, to be honest, I ain't very good at either one.
Yeah, but
He's like,
but Gaz,
oh.
you're saying you want to be useful, and you weren't very good at that either.
Dak's never gonna let Gaz go.
Fuck no.
When Moash gets his redemption arc, maybe Gaz
Ugh.
will have space for it.
Actually, you know what? Since you brought it up, that's how Gaz can get his redemption, by killing Moash.
Oh, nice. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Okay.
But yeah, let's play off the the characters I don't like, have them fight, and Gaz can triumph. If Moash wins, Moash, you still don't get a pass.
That's fair. Yeah.
Because frankly, one, Moash, your crimes are greater, and two, like if I had to choose between Gaz and Moash, Gaz was gonna win every time.
Gaz didn't try to kill any kings, as far as we know. So
Gaz is crap, but Moash is crapper.
Gaz is crap because he didn't have anything to work with, you know. Moash is crap because he made some really piss poor decisions with some great stuff to work with.
Yeah, like as bad as Gaz had it, he was in a terrible situation no matter which way you slice it. Moash was in a great position and chose to throw it away.
it's true. I mean, hard to be in a better position, honestly. He got the shards and everything.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep, and then he literally throws away the shards.
People in the army. Yep, it's true. We'll get there. But in the middle of this very emotional conversation, Vale catches somebody secretly watching them, disguised as one of the washerwomen. It is the same lady that she ran into back in Owl's Alley who wanted to join the Ghostbloods. And apparently she's been watching Vale more than just this once. Her name is Ishna, and she says that she used to be a professional spy for an important house, but the Ghostbloods took care of the lady that she worked for, and everyone thought that the spies were behind it, so no one would take them in after that. And Shallan doesn't want, or Vale does not want anything to do with Ishna at first, but then she starts to get an idea. It's like, hey, wait a second. I'll give you a chance to prove that you know you're this expert on spying. I need some people like that. I need some spies working for me. But it needs to be people that I know are loyal. I'm not going to go out and randomly hire some people. These guys I know are loyal. I want you to turn them into spies. And I mean, they don't have to be true spies. They just need to know enough to help me out. And Ishna's, I love her response. That's kind of like saying you want me to teach hogs to talk, but you promise it'll be easy because they only need to speak Alethi and not Vedin or Herdazian. And she's like, this is the chance I'm offering. Take it or leave it. And Ishna takes it. So I guess we'll see where that goes. And then we get what I think is supposed to be the end of this letter at the beginning of our next epigraph. Because it certainly sounds there's a finality to it. Regardless, this is not your concern. You turned your back on divinity. If race becomes an issue, he will be dealt with, and so will you.
Bam.
Yep. And then we get Teft.
Hang on.
Yep.
If race becomes an issue, how much more of an issue does he need to become than killing? He's killed at least 4 shards that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What more does he have to do to become an issue?
Yeah, we think this is
in the letter from
writing
Frost,
this, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, no, in the previous letter that we did get from Frost, it was he's trapped where he is now, and he can't do more damage, so it's fine.
I guess.
I feel like saying he's trapped and he can't do damage is short-sighted based on what we know about perpendicularities and world hopping. I just don't buy that.
And clearly Hoyt agrees with you because he's trying to recruit people to help out and stop race. So,
right.
Yeah. Plus, and we also know from experience, sure, Atty was trapped where he was, and he nearly got his own back. He was a hair's breadth away from becoming a major problem again.
I think Addy was more short-sighted in his own planet, though. I don't know that his ambition ever had grown beyond Scadrial.
It might have if he managed to destroy Scadrial, but
right.
Yeah, who knows what if he succeeded? Who knows what would have happened?
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, Addy could have been a bigger threat to the Cosmere at large because race, I guess, odium is hatred, which is bad. But Addy was just ruin, just breaking things to watch them burn. So that could have been worse.
Yep.
Could still be, I guess.
Depending on what happens with old Saist/Harmonium.
Yeah. But this chapter is Teft. We finally get a Teft perspective, and it's probably not as nice as definitely not as nice as the Rock perspective was. That was a good one.
No, I was like I feel like we've talked about the fact that Teft had substance issues in the past, but I thought he kicked them. I must be just misremembering.
He sort of would have had to have kicked them because he had no access to anything. But
Right.
just because an alcoholic has been years sober doesn't mean you're able to offer them just one drink and it's not a problem. It's
Yeah, I
Right.
guess that's the whole thing. If someone's a recovering alcoholic, they don't willingly go to a place that serves alcohol, but just because they don't want the temptation. So that's a good point, well made.
You're never cured of addiction. It's unfortunate reality.
Yeah.
So Teft wakes up, laying on the ground, no coat. He's just all in an alley somewhere, and in pain. And he's really ashamed. He says he's ashamed to the entire crew. You're a godless waste of spit, he tells himself. And he gets some water in him, but it's not super helpful. And basically, he's just like he's real down on himself after a night of drugs, essentially. But when he gets some water, there's a reflection in the water of a woman's face with glowy skin. He says, "You leave me alone. You just go find somebody who cares." And he doesn't want to return to the barracks. He doesn't want to face them down after having been out all night. And he thinks, I'm getting worse. That first month working for Dalinar, he'd been able to resist, mostly. But he had money again. And having money was dangerous. But, he'd only use the fire moss here and there. Just an evening now and again. But then Kaladin left, and the tower was so creepy and dark. And then there were those monsters made of darkness, one that looked just like Teft. He'd needed the moss to deal with that. Who wouldn't? And then he found a spren standing in front of him, and she says, Teft, you've spoken oaths. He thinks stupid oaths, when he thought that being a Radiant would remove the cravings. He's trying to avoid dealing with that. But yeah, there's some news. He is at least on his way to becoming a Radiant. He's got a spren, and he said some oaths. I would say, wow, that's awesome, except that clearly it's not.
Yeah, he doesn't want it.
I mean, he's had hang-ups about Radiant since he was a kid.
Mm.
But I mean, this also points out the possibility we know Radiants can heal their physical wounds. Apparently, it doesn't do jack for mental ones.
Yep, that would seem to be the case. I feel like we know that from Kaladin, though.
Yep. As soon as you say that, I realize point.
And Shallan, come to think of it, Shallan's messed up.
Yeah, I think all of our characters are deeply traumatized over something.
And so Teft makes his way back into one of these moss dens and gets himself a bowl of fire moss. They know he doesn't have any spheres, not after his binge last night, but they'll make sure they get paid eventually. And he starts mossing it up. You take the fire moss, you rub it between your thumb and forefinger, and it starts to burn. And apparently it hurts, but also feels real good. There's one point he's as good as betrayed that spren already. She'd best have fled. He'd gotten to the moss at the urging of the other men in his squad in Sadeas' army. They could all just do it now and then, but apparently Teft, it did not work that way for him. And he knows he should get up and go, but a few more minutes sounds so good. And before you know it, he's gone through 3 bowls of the stuff, and he's in a puddle of his own drool. And that's when they find him. Kaladin's like, here he is. And the lady in here's like, hey, this guy owes us for 3 bowls. And Rock's like, be glad we do not rip off pieces of your body and pay you with those. And this lady's like, hey, our establishment is perfectly legal. If you assault us, we will bring in the guard and they will defend us.
Also, goddamn, for Rock to be the one saying that is something.
Yeah. And they get Teft up, and they're like, where's your coat, Teft? Looking around, where'd you set it down? He goes, I sold it. Sold my own Stormin coat. Wow, that's messed up. And once they get him back and wrap him up and try to get some food in him, he apologizes, and basically he's like, he says all the things he's supposed to say. He promises he'll let them help. He won't do it again, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff that they expect. But really, in the back of his mind, he's just thinking, he's like, I'm not going to get any moss for a while, am I? This is going to suck. I'm going to have to go days without any help at all.
It's just that that he knows, from how he's saying it, he doesn't mean it. He will do it again.
Yep.
He's saying what people want to hear, and it's really sad.
It is indeed very sad.
Breaking my heart.
Especially with how realistic it is. This is, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Ugh. Our next chapter is Consequences. And This epigraph starts, Saphandrius, bearer of the first gem. You must know better than to approach us by relying upon presumption of past relationship. This just seems like a different tone from the other one. So, and it also starts out with addressing someone again. So I feel like we're at a new letter at this point.
Oh, still talking to Hoyd.
Yep. Except we've heard Saphandrius before, but I think this is the first time we've heard bearer of the first gem.
Yeah, I got no idea what that is.
Okay. One second. There it is. Okay, so there was an interesting line in Way of Kings, and I have to go back to it briefly, because it seems like it may relate to this. When he meets Kaladin, he says, Kaladin introduces himself, and Hoyd, who we don't know necessarily is Hoyd at that point, says, I've had many names. I began life as a thought, a concept, words on a page. That was another thing I stole, myself. Another time I was named for a rock. And Kaladin goes, a pretty one, I hope. And he says, a beautiful one, and one that became completely worthless for my wearing it. So, don't know. That has always seemed potentially related to me. But bearer of the first gem. Okay, let's see.
Interesting.
Dalinar is back in that same vision of the final desolation. This time he's planned a little better. He's taken the position of an archer, so he can protect a young man in the middle of the battle by standing back and shooting people. Prime Akasix Yanagon the First. And so the kid is stuck in the middle of this battle, and Dalinar doesn't want to make it too easy on him, but he keeps people from killing the guy. So, and then he kind of lets the kid, after the main part of the battle's over, he kind of lets him make his way through the vision and experience some of these things without interfering. Talk to some of the people, understand what's happening. And then there's a man on a boulder, and he realizes who this is. Even says that Yasna thought she'd seen him when she was in here. It is Yezareza Ilin, Herald of Kings, the greatest among them. Wait, did that guy have dark eyes? But Yezrian is indeed here and is making a speech to the people. We've won. At last, the Voidbringers are defeated. This is your victory, not ours. I will lead the charge to the Tranquiline Halls. You will not see me again. And Gox recognizes him too, and he looks up. He's like, "Oh, Yazir, King of the Heralds." And Dalinar like, "Yeah, that was him. My niece visited this vision earlier, and she thought she spotted him." And Gox is like, "Wait, do you know me? What are you?" Like, "Yeah, you're Yanagon of Azir. I'm Dalinar Kholin, by the way. Sorry about the weird meeting." And you got to remember, in the East, or in the West, I guess, they worship the heralds as gods as opposed to the Almighty. And Yazir is the highest of these gods. So it's a different experience for this guy than it is for Dalinar. He says, "First I see Yazir himself and now my enemy." And Dalinar's like, "Dude, I'm not your enemy. This isn't just a regular dream." And he's like, "Oh, I know it's not a dream. I'm the Prime, raised to the throne miraculously. The heralds may choose to speak through me." And so Dalinar tries to explain, "No, I did this. I brought you here. This is the madness that people say I have. I saw these visions." And Dalinar's trying to, get him to see the benefits of all working together against the Voidbringers. He's like, "You wanted to get me alone without the Viziers. You're in control of this. You can just show me whatever you want." And he talks about the Sunmaker a little bit. Do you know what happened the last time, we were invaded when the Sunmaker came? He conquered my people too quickly, didn't know what to do with all the captives, couldn't leave a fighting population behind him. So just murdered thousands and thousands of guys. Randomly. They say sometimes he'd be like, everybody with hair over this length dies, or just tell his people, go out and pick 10 guys each, kill them.
Seems like a cool dude.
Yeah, right? Murdered 10% of the population.
This seems like Yasna's rhetoric from the earlier chapter writ large. It's
I mean, you're not wrong.
The purely logical. Well, we can't do anything with this. Just pick a number and kill him.
Yeah. Bring me every man who is 23 years of age who has a C in his name. Do it now.
And Dalinar tries to be like, "Well, that was the Sunmaker. That was a long time ago. I'm not that guy." And he's like, "Hey, you even carry his shard blade. We know." No, I don't carry that shard blade anymore. "Yeah, sure." And Dalinar tries the argument. It's like, "Look, I have one advantage that the Sunmaker didn't have. I've lived long enough to see the consequences of what I've done." And then a voice goes, "Yeah, you're old." And there's a little girl sitting there in the middle of the battlefield for some reason. "I didn't expect you to be so old." And you're not really that black. They call you the Blackthorn, but you're more like dark tan thorn. And Gox is like, lift, you're back. And she goes, no, not quite back. Got sidetracked, but I'm close now. So she's not even like in the room with him. Like how she found her way in here is like, who knows? And he's like, what happened in Yeddaw? You barely gave any explanation. She's, those people lie about their food. You may remember how angry she was about the pancakes.
I get it, man.
And the Stormfather's like, what the hell? This is impossible. How'd she get here? And Donald's like, you didn't bring her in? He's like, no.
I would
He's
never
pissed
do
off.
that.
Like, you should take from my baffled tone that it's obvious that, no, I fucking didn't.
And Gox is like, yeah, this guy's trying to convince me I should trust him. And Lift instantly is like, no, don't. He's got too nice a butt. And Donald's like, wait, what? Yeah, your butt's too nice. Old guys shouldn't have tight butts.
Why are you talking
It
about
means
my
you spend
butt?
way too much time swinging a sword or punching people.
Oh boy.
And I love that Gox is over here like, yeah, she's got a thing about butts. I don't.
I don't get it myself, but you know.
No,
And then-
no, I don't either.
She just takes him out of the vision. She grabs Gox and they disappear. And the Stormfather's pissed off like, that woman. This is a creation specifically meant to defy my will. That child is tainted by the Night Watcher. And Dollar's like, well, I mean, so am I. Like, no, this is different. This is unnatural. She goes too far. And that's it. That's the end.
It's like I don't get it, but all right.
Dalinar's just
And-
like, all right, I've like the last 2 minutes have completely changed my perspective on things. I need to sit down.
You're lying down right now, Dalinar. You know what I
need a
mean.
break. Then we have our last chapter, which I don't know if you guys noticed. I like the little thing with the image because Bridge 4 is one of our perspectives, and the Bridge 4 chapters have the coat shoulder with the Bridge 4 insignia. But Moash's chapter has that same shoulder, but with the patch ripped off.
Yeah, exactly. He's not Bridge 4 anymore. Why the fuck's he get a perspective?
And our last epigraph for today, you have spoken to one who cannot respond. We instead will take your communication to us, though we know not how you located us upon this world. All right, cool.
Yeah, nice to know you. Cool.
We will take your communication to us. All right.
All your base are belong to us. I get it.
And so, yes, as we've talked about, we have a Moash chapter. And Moash is hanging out with Graves and his buddies. They're out in the Frostlands. They're not wearing the shard plate. That would draw too much attention. That's all in the wagon under some stuff. And Graves and Feberth are arguing about which way to go. And Graves is like, look at the map. And Feberth, on the other hand, says, I don't need maps. The passions guide me. And Graves like, the passions? You're supposed to have abandoned such superstition. You belong to the diagram. I could do both. Ugh. And Moash is just complaining from beginning to end here. Like, he's annoyed at the food because every time Feberth takes a turn cooking, it sucks. But also when Grave takes a turn, it sucks. And Fia and Moash. So none of them can cook, basically. And they're just sitting around, eating their crappy food, sitting by the fire. And Moash is thinking back over the crap that he did. Remembering Kaladin, like, bleeding and standing against him, like, you will not have him.
Like, there was the actual incident, but Moash, you were counseled a number of times about not doing this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, why didn't anyone warn me this would be a bad thing? Like, and I realized that Kaladin was kind of on the same side and then was like, no, actually not. But at what point was everyone all in on this and now woe is me, Moash? Like,
Right.
I think everything's woe is me, Moash. I think that's his whole life.
it's his shtick.
Yeah.
And he even is feeling bad. He's like, he's not a Dark Eyes anymore. He's one of them. Storms, he was one of them. Yeah, you're one of them, dude. And he's like, what's Bridge 4 doing now? Sitting around, having some good food, laughing, cracking jokes. What did Kaladin tell them? He'd say, like, yeah, he tried to kill me. He betrayed everything. Oh, I also kind of skipped over the fact that Graves is like, you need to remove that patch. And so he does remove the patch, but he doesn't want to, like, destroy it either. He's kind of on the fence. Then he looks up at the sky just in time to see not just stars, but something else up there. Something coming real fast. He barely manages to dodge out of the way. Graves never sees it coming. He takes something right through the chest. Feberth and Fia also never stood a chance. Everybody's dead except Moash.
This shocked me. Like, after everything we went through with Graves last time, like, I was expecting him to be like a consistent player moving forward. And then it's like, nope, the second he shows back up in this book, boom, he's dead.
Yeah, he did. Mm. Along with two people that we'd never heard of before now. So
Yeah, it's a real.
Yeah, I don't care about them.
It's a real Mark Hamill throwing the lightsaber off the cliff moment. There, you're just like, oh, never mind.
It's one of those moments where it's like, you know, those times in shows or in movies where it's like this, like, you know, a later season or it's a movie sequel or whatever, and you've got this like recurring villain who you've come to know a bit and you're expecting them to do more, and then another bad guy shows up and just kills them offhand, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess we're done with them.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like
Goodbye.
made me think of also an MCU, which I know he wasn't killed off, but like Ronan, he's like this presence, and it's like, oh wait, never mind. There's that other guy.
Well, it's like, but like Ronan did it to a villain himself, because like you had in the first Avengers, there was that dude who spoke for Thanos, and then he showed up in Guardians for all of a scene before like Ronan broke his neck.
Yeah, he's like,
Yep.
oh yeah, I don't care about you.
Yep.
I'm
Next snap.
I'm the pie maker. I don't care about you.
He was the pie maker. Man, I love that show. What was that guy called? He was like the guy that he killed had a weird name.
I thought he was just like the speaker of Thanos or something.
I just called him the mouth of Thanos. That's basically what he was.
Yeah, I mean he was just like
The mouthpiece.
the mouthpiece, exactly.
Yeah, the mouth of Sauron of Thanos.
Yeah.
I think even when they like his name in the credits is something similar to that, but it's like a weird.
It's like Marcus, the voice of Thanos. Super normal name, but the voice of Thanos.
That's just like Carr, our old friend the Inquisitor.
Yeah.
I like Marcus. I think that's cool.
They called him the wiki for the MCU calls him Other.
That's stupid.
That's bland.
Marcus is better.
Ronan killed
I'm gonna call him
Other
Marcus.
with his universal weapon.
He sure did. I saw that. I watched that movie.
It's just like a fun name for a weapon too. It's like the universal weapon.
It's I just called it Big Ass Hammer.
It was a big ass hammer. Yep. So Moash very quickly is the only one left fighting these several Voidbringers who have shown up. And he's like, oh, Graves talked about these guys. Their return was one of the many events predicted by the inscrutable diagram. He never even got to like get involved with the diagram.
Mhm.
His contacts are now dead. And so Moash starts fighting one of them with his sword. But I don't know if he just never learned to be that good with the sword, or if in reality it's really not the best weapon for this fight. But eventually he gives up on the sword, despite it being, you know, super valuable magical weapon.
100% did not learn how to use that sword.
And in his head, he's like, who am I kidding? Who did I ever think I was kidding? Like, I should not have this thing.
Not the Raiders, that's for damn sure.
And he takes her on without that. And actually, like, there's a moment where she's going to get him. She like infuses his chest, like lashes him upward. But this is something Kaladin trained him for. Probably very few people in the world would have been prepared for this move. But as he trained with Kaladin, he is one of them. And so he grabs a hold of her before he flies off into the air and manages to keep himself. And I think that she's surprised enough by this that it gives him the opening to then get his knife out and jam it into her chest. And he manages to kill her. She doesn't heal like Kaladin would have. And then he stands up and there's like 3 more of them. And he's just like, Bridge 4, bastards. So he's still claiming Bridge 4. Maybe that's why he gets the perspective.
Boo!
Boo. If that was a scene at the start of an episode of this show, I would turn it off. I'd be like, ugh, forget this guy.
And the rest of the 3 are like sizing him up. And he goes, you could probably kill me, but I'll take at least one more of you with me. And one of them goes, you have passion. You may choose. Die here or accept defeat and give up your weapons. And he just kind of shrugs, tosses the spear that he's picked up down, summons his blade and breaks the connection with it and throws it down. And they take it, and they take the armor, and they take him eventually, and they fly off. And that is the end of our section. And then, I don't know if you guys looked at the picture after it, but there's an interesting design here, drawing with some women's script, so you can't tell what it's saying. But anyway, let's move into predicaments for next time. We're going to do 4 chapters. And I'll give you the titles of the chapters, and then we'll see what you guys think is going to happen. Chapter 44 through 47 is what we're reading for next time. 44 is The Bright Side. 45 is A Revelation. 46 is When the Dream Dies. And 47 is so much is lost. So what do you think? Where are we going? What's going to happen next? What can you predict?
So the only prediction I really have, unfortunately, is about Moash, and it does not involve him dying, which is very sad for us all. But Moash is an opportunist. He hangs out with people who will give him what he wants. As like if they're willing to give him something, he will latch onto them. He did it with Kaladin and Bridge 4 eventually, and then the moment he got a better offer with the Ghostbloods, he traded Bridge 4 for the diagram, and now his only recourse left is the Voidbringers, but they have given him a chance to live. So he is going to seize upon that. Now, we know that from Kaladin's chapters that the Voidbringers aren't opposed to having people working with them to, to overthrow Alethi society. And but Moash has a massive chip on their shoulder about Alethi society and what it's done to them. So I could 100% see Moash is about to become a willing agent of the Voidbringers. So I think that when Kaladin, Adolin, and Elhokar show up in Kholinar, they might find a familiar face there waiting for them, working with the Voidbringers. And I'm not looking forward to that, if I'm being perfectly honest.
I'm trying to decide if that does seem like a thing that could happen, because I agree with some of what you're saying about Moash being an opportunist on some level. Maybe it was he had from the beginning of Bridge 4, he had the thing that he was trying to accomplish, and he took the opportunity when it presented itself to help him accomplish that thing. I don't know that makes him an opportunist exactly, because it's not like his loyalty was shifting a little bit, but it's because of his personal goal that he was going after. Yeah,
I guess. So,
and I don't know if we're past that now. He's kind of missed his shot on that, it seems like. But
I don't think he would. I don't think he's going to join with the Voidbringers because he thinks, they're going to give me a shot to get what I want. But the fact of the matter is, they've offered him a chance to live. He's going to take it, and we know that we know the Voidbringers are happy to have people on their side if they're willing to agree with their terms. And I think Moash would happily do that just to save his skin.
It's true. They were pretty explicit about like, oh yeah, people can join up if they want. We don't care if you're human. So yeah, okay. I'm trying to decide if that seems likely, or if that seems like Dak really hates Moash, and so of course he'd be like, yeah, he's going to join up with the bad guys because fuck that guy.
I mean, yes, like any prediction I make about the guy is going to be discolored by my feelings towards him, but I don't believe that makes them invalid.
No, fair, yeah. Maybe that makes them more valid because they're your predictions after all.
Yeah.
Okay. It would be interesting. I will say that much is that would be a way to take this character. Now that this was the opportunity to kill him, if we were just going to get rid of him, we didn't do that. So he's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, he's still got a part to play in this for some reason.
Much to Dak's chagrin.
Yep. Maybe we'll get that Gaz v Moash fight. Maybe it's coming.
A man can dream.
Yeah. Maybe here's your crackpot theory. We know from Rock's chapter last time that they've still got Bridge 4. They've still got the bridge. Maybe in the thick of battle, Gaz summons in some Stormlight. He gets some extra strength, lifts the bridge up by himself, and smashes it on Moash's head. Gaz becomes a bridgeman. Moash gets killed by the bridge. It's all symbolic in some way. Everybody's happy.
Moash didn't land on Bridge 4. Bridge 4 landed on him. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I'm kind of going to start where Dak has left off, and probably something that Dak is going to hate even more than Moash ending up with the Parshendi. I think Moash is going to end up being back at Bridge 4. I think that Paladin, well, he's obviously going to have some kind of experience with the Parshendi, which may prove quite valuable. I think that he's going to come back to Kaladin and tell him something. And Kaladin, who has not told anybody else anything of what Moash did, is going to allow him back into Bridge 4. He's given up the shards. There's no more diagram. Well, he may have some knowledge of the diagram that he could share with Kaladin after seeing what happens with the Parshendi. Moash is on Moash's side, and I just feel like it's going to end up suiting his purpose to come back. And yeah, be back to Bridge 4 with most of them welcoming him with open arms. I think if he was to come back, Kaladin is going to have to really keep an eye on him. But considering Is Moash's perspective part of Bridge 4's perspective, or were we getting a Moash perspective?
I mean, Moash wasn't listed in the names of the perspectives, so I assumed, especially since
He's under the
image
Bridge
at the
4
top
banner.
was so similar to the Bridge 4 one.
Yeah.
I assume that it's supposed to be part of that Bridge 4 overall.
Yeah.
thing.
So I think that adds a bit of fuel to that fire. That where else is he gonna go? Is say he escapes the Parshendi, he's either gonna side with them and fight against them, like fight against the Alethi or the rest of the world, or he's gonna find a way to come back. So I don't know. Remains to be seen yet where he will go, but I think he will end up back with Bridge 4, or he'll be some kind of pivotal double agent or something. Like if they were to cross paths in a battle or something like that, he would be able to give information back to Kaladin, or Kaladin will go back to the Parshendi and find Moash and somehow end up back with Bridge 4. But I think that's where that's going. Teft worries me a lot. He's obviously got a massive journey to go through for himself before he can do a lot of things for other people. I'd like to think he could become the Radiant that we need at the moment, but I think it'll be a long time before we see him at that level. Also, no one else knows that he's got that, has attracted a Spren or even bonded a Spren, so I think it'll be quite some time. I don't really have anything specific for the chapter titles. Yeah, no, that's pretty much all I've got.
Yeah, it's interesting that clearly Kaladin knew that Teft had at least drawn in some light, because when he was assigning people out, he's like, the people who have drawn in light already are going to help the others, and he tries to assign Teft, and Teft's not there. So he knows that he's gotten a little bit along the path, but it does seem like Teft is not revealing how far exactly he's gone. So that could lead to some interesting stuff.
Yeah, because the others have not bonded a Spren. They are just gaining abilities because of Kaladin, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So Kaladin could assume that is why Teft is able to do that as well. But Rock hasn't seen anything or said anything.
Nope.
Not
that we've seen anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe there's a conversation that'll happen between Rock and Teft. That would be a good one, I think.
Oh yeah. Somebody needs to have some conversations with this guy, for sure.
The conversations, they always help the story progress. Maybe they shorten the story because someone actually sat down and told someone something, but,
communication. Yep.
Teft needs a talking to and help.
He really does need help, yeah. Also, I like that you've taken the complete opposite tack from Dak with Moash. Like, he'll come back and he'll join the crew again, and everything will be okay. You make a good point that
no, I didn't say everything would be okay.
Well, okay, yeah, no, yes, that's true. But you make a good point that they've left this very obvious bit of foreshadowing that's like, Kaladin didn't tell everybody what happened. So that could mean multiple different things. That could mean that it leaves the door open for Moash to come back. It could mean it leaves the door open for Moash to trick one of them because they don't know how bad he is. So there's possibilities there that have been left open for us. And I like this idea that he'll go and have some valuable experiences, maybe learn an important lesson with the Parshendi, kind of like Kaladin did. And then there'll be room for him to come back. Especially, we know Kaladin is going on this mission to where the Parshendi are apparently preparing to invade Kholinar. Maybe they end up in the same place.
Yeah. The gamble for Moash will be that he doesn't know how much everyone else knows.
It's true.
So he doesn't know if he would be welcome back. So, he could go down the path of being and fighting for the Parshendi, as Daka said, and then fake that he's back and on board and all that sort of stuff, but actually be on the side of the Parshendi. Maybe he's Odium's champion.
Ooh, that very opposite of the other thought, but yeah, no, it could be.
I feel like every week I'm just going to throw out a new person who could be Odium's champion, because wasn't I like, oh, maybe it's Rendarin?
Yeah, that's true. I'd forgotten that. If you just name everybody in the books, then one of them must be right?
Exactly. Eventually, a named character maybe will be.
You're going to name everybody except like Kaladin, and it'll turn out to be Kaladin somehow. That would be unexpected.
Yeah, wow. It'll be wrong.
It'll be Yasna.
It's Gaz.
Gaz, the one-eyed champion.
Oh my gosh, Gaz. Okay, yeah, I hadn't
that would be a twist.
Gaz and Moash together tag team champions.
Ew.
Yeah, that's my sentiment as well. Ew.
Question regarding this potential Moash comes back into the fold thing. All right, let's say Moash comes back in the fold and Callan gives it a chance. Like no one else knows. How much does Elhokar remember? I know he was pretty drunk,
Yeah.
but does he remember the two dudes who came to try and kill him? And and Kaladin seemed to have a real bone to pick with one of them. And then like a few weeks later, that guy's back, and Elhokar's like, "I know you from somewhere."
I was wondering that too, how much Elhokar would remember.
Yeah.
For my theory to work, Elhokar really can't remember what's going on. But we're going to have Elhokar and Kaladin go off on their adventure together, so maybe that's where they'll run into Moash, and maybe they can hash it all out there, and
Yeah,
Moash can see that Elhokar's really trying to do better. And
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like we get back to Kholinar, and it's like Dalinar, Aelin, and Elhokar are all there, and Moash shows up with the Parshendi, and Kaladin and Elhokar's like, "It's you!" And Aelin's like, "Who the fuck's that?"
I don't remember that guy.
I'm of a different. I really liked Jamie and Dak's stuff this week. I kind of want to mix it together because this is kind of the theory I've been formulating with the Moash of it all, right? So he's been taken by these Parshendi to who knows where to do who knows what, and my kind of thoughts on it are with Dak. I think Moash is going to join up with the Parshendi, but here's why. I think he's going to end up being in Kholinar. And when Kaladin and Elhokar show up, he's going to be like, "What the hell?" And so he's going to like willingly be like, "Oh, I am not cool with Elhokar being buddies with my Bridge 4 dudes. I am down to do whatever you need me to do, Parshendi." And I think Jamie's right. I think he's going to become Odium's champion. The Parshendi are going to use him and bond him to, I don't know what we're calling these other Spren. I'm going to call them Nega Spren, like Nega Scott from Scott Pilgrim. So we're going to bond them he's going to bond to one of those Spren and become like Odium champion.
When you said Nega Spren, I thought of Negaduck from Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, same thing.
I love that. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where my brain's going. It's like the Elhokar of it all is going to throw a wrench into the Moash. Should I be good or should I be bad thing?
Should I stay or should I go? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sure. The clash, and that's kind of what I'm formulating for that. I kind of feel like maybe that's where we're headed. And then, wow, I just there's so many things going on in my brain about the heralds that I really don't know how to formulate like a predicament. But I can't imagine that all of the heralds are in a state where they could know or be involved with this willingly and not like stand for. Like I could understand a few of them being like, "Hey, we're gonna step back and let this take its course." My real confusion is with Nail. Like he should be working with like Dalinar at this point, I feel like. But again, it's confusing what his motives are or if he's in even like a normal state of mind. So not sure where to go on that, but excited to keep reading. We're finally getting into some juicy like big picture story stuff. So
we definitely have gotten some big picture stuff these last couple of chapters. That is always exciting when you start figuring out about how the world works here. We had a couple books getting us to that point, but I like this idea that it's like, maybe Moash could come around, except that he hasn't resolved his Elhokar feelings. Yeah, that's still going to be a sticking point for him. I could absolutely see that being the case. So that could lead. But is that rehashing the same conflict that him and Kaladin already had? If we go back to that, or is it just maintaining the character motivation that we know?
Right. So like in my brain, it's like Moash is like, "Oh man, Cal's here. I should try to like fix things and like talk to him." And then he realizes Elhokar's here. What the heck?
Yeah, like we've just seen with Teft. Like you can have moments where you have characters, even a virtuous character like Teft, who's trying to do all the right things by all his people, but they have like they're failing, And when it comes down to it, they just can't walk away from it. So, like, Moash could easily be the same with Elika. Like, might just double down.
It's true. You got your it's very epic. You got your flaw. What do you call it? Your fatal flaw.
Yeah, that was the end of season 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's like after all the build up where you think Zuko is gonna finally turn good. Nope.
But then he does later, so it's fine.
Yeah, but like that moment was still just like a pivotal part of the show and one of its most important scenes, I would argue.
It was pretty cool. I like how they teased like the long-standing fan theory that she's going to use the magic water to fix the scar, and it's like, oh, is she? Nope. Gotcha. Made you look. Anyway, all right. Let's move into. We have one new email and one new patron. So I'll read the email so you can get ready for patron. It's a very short email. It's from Leslie, and she says, "More dog photos. Hello, Data, Dak, Joe, and Jamie." Hold on, Heyo. I gotta paste this because she says, "Heard your email box was empty, so I figure I'd try my hand at misspelling your names and also send more dog photos." So I assure you guys, with you guys, the misspellings, because clearly a lot of effort were put into these misspellings.
Good lord.
That's just adding letters that don't need to be there.
Yeah. She says, on a more serious note, if you had to pick one meal/food to eat for the rest of your life, what would it be? And then while you guys think on that, I will copy some of these photos of dogs and share with you.
I'm a simple man. Burger and fries.
Makes sense.
I like a nice chicken, maybe chicken schnitzel burger. They're good.
Oh, now we're getting fancy.
I don't know. That's a hard one. I mean, I love pasta. I'm a carb girl at heart.
I like that too. Yep. Any particular kind of pasta that you're a big fan of, or just in general?
Just in general.
Fair. Okay. What about you, Joe?
That is a tough question. So for me, it's like it goes to what's not my, it's not my favorite, but it's what I wouldn't get sick of eating, right? And so I guess that would be like the standard lunch that I have. I usually will have like an apple peanut butter sandwich and some pickles, so they sell these pre-packaged cut dill slices that are like thick. They're called dilly bites.
Yeah. I bought some of those for the boys because they like pickles and they were fans.
Yeah,
nice
sound
little portable
good.
snack.
Yeah, it's easy to carry around, and if you're having a low electrolyte day, you get some electrolytes back with some pickly goodness. So yeah, I guess that would be it, just based on the fact that, like I said, it's just easy.
Yeah.
And
the thing about one meal
wouldn't
for the
get
rest
sick
of
of
your
it.
life is that there's very serious health concerns there. You're gonna get like scurvy or something with a lot of these meals.
That's
Yeah,
true, because I get
exactly.
some vitamin C from the apple, but not much.
Yeah. I feel like you want something that's customizable, where even if you're eating, quote, the same meal every day, you could change it up. Like you could top a burger with lots of different things, or a pizza with lots of different things. Maybe I don't know.
That's true.
That is true.
Or you just say like, I want that full course dinner I had every day. That way you can choose when and if what to eat and when and if like to leave things out. Doesn't say I have to eat the whole meal every time. It just says
it's true. Yeah.
But now I'm thinking too much into it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna say like a burrito, because you can literally put anything in a tortilla and make it a burrito. So
I was gonna say, if we follow like Joe's suggestion to the extreme, it's like, I want the banquet option from this restaurant because that's got fucking everything and you don't have to eat all of it.
I want a buffet every day for the rest of my life. Okay, well, there you go. I shared the dog photos, and then she says, "Wasn't to the time of next, Colo. Grab at the airsick lowlanders. Cute dogs.
Very cute dogs.
Yeah. I like the one where the brown and white one is looking at the camera, looking kind of confused, like what's going on." Okay, and then we have one new patron this week. Pull that up. At the ska level is Kara.
Kara, you are, let's see here. Ooh, a pulsar. That one's
Nice. That's a good one.
Our good old friend Marisai.
Wait, no, that's a Alamancy. That's not Ferrocami.
Oh, that's my bad. Yeah. Hey, you know what though? If you haven't been given a If you haven't been jumped into the Misting Crew, you just were. So, write a
Oh
review
my
if you want.
gosh.
But that was a surprise Misting Crew edition because I'm stupid.
Default.
Yeah. So, if that's the case, you store. Let's see here. What's a good one? You store speed. We like that one, right?
Oh yeah, the Steel Runner. That's a scary one. He can murder a bunch of people.
I mean, you could do lots of
Like,
things.
that's true.
You be the
I
Flash.
was thinking about how the Conjure did that. Yeah. You be the Flash for half the time and then like a snail for the rest of the time.
Or a blob.
Go work at
move slowly.
Go work at the DMV like in
like
in
in
Zootopia.
Yeah, it's an underrated movie, I feel like.
I love Zootopia. Yeah. All right. That I think takes care of all of our business. So if anyone would like to send us an email, like Leslie did today, that address is thesanderlanche@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram and Blue Sky and Patreon, where I am still reading Wind and Truth. I haven't even started recording of Isles of the Emberdark yet, but I did put up the unboxing video of the Isles of the Emberdark box because it was much like the other secret project boxes that came during the year of Sanderson. It had the book, it had like a couple other things, a sticker, a bookmark, and it had a new pin, which is actually maybe my favorite of the character pins they've done so far. Let me see if I can.
I'm jelly. I
find it to
haven't
share with
gotten
y'all.
my book yet.
Nope, that's the Vasher pin.
I've checked like with the details so many times. I was like, did I put my address in? And rationally, and I was like, yes, I did. But every time they send the reminder, I was like, did I?
Yeah.
So here it is. This is actually it says Series 3, pin number 6. It's the first revealed pin that we've gotten
Oh,
of
nice.
Series 3.
I love that pin.
But it's 6 to the dusk, so it has to
Yeah.
be pin number 6.
That's awesson
That's
So
cool.
yes, it quite possibly my favorite of the character pins so far. It's very cute. Although today they announced Brandon is going to a convention in Spain, and they called C2E2. Is that what it's called, or C2E2 another one? Anyway, doesn't matter. Brandon's going to this convention in Spain, and they announced today some of the new merchandise they would have at this convention. Oh, it's called Celsius 232 because 232 Celsius is Fahrenheit 451.
That's clever. I like that.
Clever. Yep.
But there's going to be some new pins, some new bags and stuff. I was going to show you guys a couple of these because there's a couple of them that look kind of cool. Here's the Ellen Venture pin that they announced that they're going to have. Not my favorite of the pins, but I mean, it's hard to follow up that Sixth of the Dusk. Super cute little with his birds. But there's Ellen. And then a friend of mine was very excited that they are finally doing a Shy/Moonlight pin. And I'll share that one with you guys as well.
Is that someone new?
No, I have a friend who she just really loves the character of Shy. And she every time there's a new pin, she's like, is there a Shy one? Is there a Shy one? So she was very excited today. And the Shy one is cool because she's in the middle of using a soul stamp to like change her. I don't know if it's just her outfit or herself, but it's kind of cute.
That is cool. That is probably one of the best looking ones. That is awesome.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
neat.
I like that one. And so, yeah, some cool merchandise premiering in Spain. I don't know when it will hit.
Don't super
hit
love the
store
Ellen
here.
one, but teach his own.
Yeah, it's not my favorite one, but I get it. I like that he has a book and a sword, both. But
Yeah.
I think it looks pretty cool.
Let's just assume that the sword is named Richard.
right now, I have on my pin board, like Vin is right next to Kelsier, and I'm like, well, I got to put Ellen right next to Vin. But then it's the three of them together. That'll be awkward.
I just put Kelsier above them.
Maybe. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, some fun new merch opportunities for anyone who's going to be in Spain for the big convention. Hopefully, it'll come to the Dragonsteel store. Although the last convention he went to, that was C2E2, was the last convention he did. That one, they came out with a bunch of new merch that they said would end up in the store soon, and it has not happened yet. So, got to be on the lookout. But anyway, if you want to see stuff like me unboxing that box, check out our Patreon. And if you join our Patreon, Joe will give you a misting power. If you leave us a 5-star review and then email us.
You said that wrong.
Sanderlanche@gmail.com.
I'll give you a fairing
Oh,
power.
fairing power. Sorry. If you leave us a 5-star review and email it to us, thesanderlanche@gmail.com, send us a picture of it. He will give you a misting power for that. Jump you into the misting crew. And so you can be a twinborn if you do both of those things. But thank you to our new patron this week. All of our patrons, you guys are awesome. Thank you to our emailers. People on the Discord, if you want to join the Discord, there's a link on our website, www.thesanderlanche.com. Thank you to everyone who's just showing up every week, listening to us talk about these books. Remember, we're doing 4 chapters for next time. That's 44 through 47. If you're following along, read those chapters. You can read other chapters if you want. We're just not going to talk about those chapters yet. Music by Miracle of Sound. And Wuzzing to the Time of Next. Colo, P.S. Fasher. Crabs ahoy.
Supernovas die, fractured in the fateful fall of man. Feel the heart raging of a strength unseen. Unity will bring the upper hand. So look to the break of dawn, to the break of dawn.